what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
But as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Good evening and welcome to our notes tonight on the Middle Colonies, our second in a series of three colonial region notes. Tonight we're focusing on pretty much the same inquiry question as with the New England colonies. How do the physical, cultural, and economic characteristics of the Middle Colonies affect its lifestyle? So again, we'll start with what colonies make up the Middle Colonies. There's four of them. You got New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. So the climate in the Middle Colonies is much different than the New England colonies. The winters are less harsh. While they still do get cool and snow, it's not a hard freeze like it is in much of the New England region. You don't really get a real hot summer. You get warm, good for growing, and you have a longer growing season. So the Middle Colonies eventually become known as the breadbasket colonies because of this long growing season. They can keep growing crops and keep growing them, and then they export them. The soil is okay, not awesome, but good enough to grow. So they grew what are called cash crops. These would be corn and wheat and other types of grains that can make a lot of money. They're called cash crops because they're crops that the farmers grow to go sell to other countries, other colonies, and other places. The longer growing season allows for a larger harvest of these crops. And like I said, they become known as a breadbasket colonies because of the amount of wheat that they're exporting to other places. The culture in the Middle Colonies is much different than the New England. In New England, you had people living in towns and cities. Here, most of them farms. Some are tenant farmers, so that means they're paying rent to farm somebody else's land. And then you had a lot of people living in what's called the backcountry, back in the woods, away from any of the towns. So the lifestyle is much more isolated, and they would only go into towns from time to time to sell their goods. However, you do see a rise in this region in slavery because of needing labor to work on the farms. And you have, by 1760, the city of Philadelphia being the largest colonial city throughout any of the 13 colonies. So how did they make their money? We've kind of hit this already. Most of it was on those cash crops. They would take the crops, and frequently it would be trading with British and or the West Indies, and most of the stuff they traded was the wheat. Some of the farms also raised cattle, so cows and pigs, to again sell to other colonies and to other countries. They did do some manufacturing and some ironwork as well within this region. But the majority of the lifestyle were on these not humongous farms, but farms run by a family and some slaves or indentured servants who agreed to work the land. So through this, you can see some similarities between the Middle and the New England regions. Come prepared tomorrow to look even deeper into the Middle Colonies and be able to point out and discuss some of these similarities and differences. Have a good evening.